Late August 1944, 06:15 hours observation post for Pardal, France. The morning report lay crumpled on the desk as German technical officers at Flak Regiment 155W struggled to comprehend the mathematics before them. The interception rates violated every principle of ballistic probability taught at Luftwaffe Technikummies across the Reich. 82% destroyed. This cannot be accurate. Through field telescopes, German observers had witnessed something that contradicted everything their intelligence services assured them about Allied anti-aircraft capabilities. The V-1 flying bombs launched toward London in the pre-dawn hours were being destroyed at rates that defied explanation. Not shot down by fighters making dangerous pursuit curves, not tangled in barrage balloon cables, but destroyed by anti-aircraft fire over the coastal gunbelt. Shells exploding with impossible accuracy around the missiles, somehow detonating near them rather than requiring direct hits. At Flak Regiment 155W headquarters in the Chateau d'Otto Obst, Max Vito, commander of the entire V-1 offensive, received these reports with growing alarm over the course of the German V-1 campaign. The proportion of flying bombs destroyed by the coastal gunbelt had risen from 17% in June to 74% by late August, reaching 82% during one extraordinary day in that final week of August 1944. Marking the beginning of the most profound technological shock the Wehrmacht's weapon scientists would experience in the war. What neither W-Tel nor any German scientist knew was that they were witnessing the deployment of one of World War II's most closely guarded secrets, a technology so revolutionary that it was protected at the same level as the atomic bomb project. The proximity fuse, or VT variable time fuse as the Allies coded it, was systematically destroying Hitler's terror weapon with a precision that German physics said shouldn't exist. The story began 10 weeks earlier on June 13, 1944, exactly 1 week after D-Day. In response to the Allied invasion of Normandy, Hitler had unleashed his long-promised Verurteilungswaffe vengeance weapon against London. At 4:25 a.m. on June 13th, the first V-1 fell on London, landing in Grove Road in Bow, destroying a railway bridge and nearby homes. 6 people were killed, 30 injured, and 200 made homeless. The weapon represented years of German development. A pilotless aircraft powered by an Argus S-109-014 pulse jet engine carrying 850 kilograms of A-metal explosive at 640 km/h. It was the world's first operational cruise missile, and German high command believed it would bring Britain to its knees. Major Walter Dornberger, head of the VW weapons program at Peenemünde, had calculated that even with a conservative 25% success rate, the V-1 would deliver more explosive power to London than the entire Blitz of 1940 to 41. Each V-1 cost approximately 5,000 Reichsmarks to produce, a fraction of the cost of a manned bomber mission with no risk to aircrew. At Peenemünde Army Research Center, German scientists had reason for confidence. They had developed advanced rocket technology, created operational jet aircraft, and now fielded the first cruise missile. Dr. Robert Lasser, who designed the V-1's control system, calculated that Allied interception was nearly impossible. The flying bomb traveled at 640 km at varying altitudes between 600 and 2,700 meter. British fighters needed speeds exceeding 650 km/h to intercept. To destroy it, they had to close within 200 meters, risking destruction from the explosion. As for anti-aircraft fire, the probability of a direct hit on such a small, fast target was calculated at less than 1 in 10,000 shells fired. This wasn't propaganda, but sound ballistic science. Conventional time-fused shells required accurate prediction, precise calculation, manual fuse setting, and perfect timing. With the V-1 speed, gunners had perhaps 30 seconds from detection to engagement. Our Max Vachtal, commanding Flak Regiment 155W, knew these limitations from both sides of anti-aircraft warfare. During the campaign, Germans would launch 9,521 V-1 missiles from ground sites against England, with thousands more against other targets, bringing the total to approximately 25,000 V-1s deployed throughout the war. Within days of first launches, troubling reports reached German intelligence. British anti-aircraft defenses were adapting with suspicious speed. By late June, the interception rate climbed from 10% to 24%. higher than predicted but explainable. Then came July and the statistics became inexplicable. German technical officers monitoring effectiveness noticed British guns claiming V-1 kills with impossibly low ammunition expenditure. Observers on the French coast witnessed V-1s flying steadily toward England, suddenly surrounded by flak bursts, then tumbling from the sky despite explosions occurring too far away for direct hits. Unknown to German intelligence, they were witnessing proximity fuses that turned near misses into kills. The technology had been operational in the Pacific since January 1943, when USS Helena shot down a Japanese dive bomber with shells that exploded when sensing proximity to targets. The German intelligence failure was comprehensive. The Oslo report of November 1939 mentioned proximity fuse research, but German scientists dismissed it as disinformation. Germany had attempted developing similar technology. Over 30 different designs researched, but none achieved operational status. German engineers had concluded proximity fuses were impossible. The technical challenges seemed insurmountable. Miniaturizing radio transmitter receivers for artillery shells, making vacuum tubes survive 20,000 G-forces, creating batteries that could activate after years of storage, achieving mass production. Yet by August 1944, American factories were producing 40,000 VT fuses daily. During the final week of August 1944, the proximity fuse achieved its maximum effectiveness. The British had reorganized their entire anti-aircraft defense system. Guns employed American STR-584 radar for automatic tracking. More crucially, they fired shells equipped with VT fuses modified specifically for V-1 threats. The Royal Artillery and RAF Regiment had redeployed from North Downs positions to the south coast, creating a concentrated gun belt. This coastal positioning ensured any dud shells fell into the sea, preventing German capture. As V-1s crossed the English coast, they entered a kill zone where technology trumped statistics. The STR-584 radar automatically locked onto targets, calculated trajectories, and fed firing solutions to guns. The proximity fuse contained miniature radio transmitters built with tubes developed by Sylvania Electric and Western Electric. When reflected signals indicated proximity, Theratron switches triggered detonators, sending steel fragments through V-1 hulls. On the peak day in late August, coastal guns destroyed 82% of incoming V-1s, a rate German engineers deemed physically impossible. Reports of 82% interception created crisis meetings at German headquarters. Hotels suspected sabotage. Emergency inspections found nothing wrong with missiles. Test firings over German territory showed normal performance. The problem manifested only against British defenses. German experts concluded the British had developed revolutionary anti-aircraft systems, but couldn't determine specifics without captured examples. They tried varying tactics, different altitudes, larger salvos, night launches, weather exploitation. Nothing worked. The kill rate remained devastating. At Peenemünde, scientists faced an uncomfortable conclusion. If Allies had developed proximity fuses, they had achieved what Germany thought impossible. German efforts to uncover the secret intensified, but failed completely. The proximity fuse's security was nearly perfect. Production was compartmentalized across 110 factories. Workers knew only their specific tasks. Even the name variable time was deliberately misleading, suggesting conventional timed fuse rather than proximity sensors. By 1944, American electronics industry capacity was devoted to fuse production. 22 million proximity fuses would be produced by war's end, costing over $1 billion in the 1940s. The Crossley Corporation alone produced over 5 million fuses, nearly a quarter of total production. The numbers revealed staggering industrial mismatch. While Germany struggled producing V-1s using forced labor, America transformed its electronics industry for fuse production. Peak daily production reached 40,000 units. Costs dropped from $730 per unit in 1942 to $18 by 1945. Crossley Corporation, which had manufactured radios and refrigerators pre-war, employed 10,000 workers, producing 16,000 fuses daily at peak. Sylvania Electric dedicated its entire vacuum tube research division to developing ruggedized components, producing 400,000 miniaturized tubes daily, 95% of all tubes used. The contrast was absolute. Germany handcrafted weapons in limited numbers, America Mass. Produced revolutionary technology at unprecedented scale. Monthly American proximity fuse production exceeded total German V-1 production for the entire war. The proximity fuse represented extraordinary engineering. The device had to survive being fired from a gun, 20,000 grand acceleration, 25,000 RPM spin, temperature extremes. Sylvania developed miniature vacuum tubes based on hearing aid designs, but reinforced to survive these forces. Battery